7:49 here on this Friday morning wake-up call, and at this time every Friday we've got Friday with the Fuzz, so I'll toss over to Mr. Michael Greene.
Thanks, Derek. In studio with us today for Friday with the Fuzz is Elgin's Chief of Police, Jeff Swoboda. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Good morning.
Running a little behind because you came down off a dunk, right? And on your heel a little bit, and you got like a little...
Walking a little slower.
Today.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. When you come down from that high up, it's just...
Right. I wouldn't know. Right? I wouldn't, but I believe you did. Yeah.
Sure. That's
exactly
right.
Well, we'll get to that. You guys have some basketball stuff coming up. But thanks for joining us and even, playing hurt.
Absolutely.
Wanted to start out with just kind of closing up. We talked about a couple of weeks ago. We've done some news reports and stuff about the lottery tickets that were stolen out of a couple different. Well, the first report was two different times at the same station,
place, yep.
And then a couple days later at a different location. But you guys were able to resolve that, and my first thought was, doesn't this place have video? That they're going to show you, and this should be pretty easily, or at least who you're looking for, kind of thing. But you guys were able to close that up. Can you talk to this at all?
Yeah, a couple different incidents that had occurred where the lottery tickets were stolen. They were a couple of them up on North McLean. One place actually was hit twice, and then another place over on the east side. And it kind of shows also how far criminals will go to because like you said, are we going to recognize this person?
I was from Evanston.
Right, from Evanston. Was doing stuff there, and then eventually Displays ended up catching him when they tried to cash in. There was an alert clerk who called the police when came in. Believe he recognized the tickets.
Serialized?
They were able to trace the tickets, and so they contacted the police. We were able to get our detectives involved. We were with Displays, and Displays caught him, but we were able to charge him up on our case as well. So it was a good arrest, and again, this illustrates many different things that we talk about here. That one person will cause multiple crimes and would have kept going more than likely, obviously, at least from showing how he was operating, that they'll continue to commit more and more crime until they're caught. So this was a very nice arrest that we were able to get him off. But yeah, because that was very concerning, these smash and grabs that were going on. So it was a great arrest on that. So he was charged, I think it was early last week. So yeah.
Any idea why he was coming to Elgin? Is that anything that can be released? Or?
Not that I know of. I don't know.
Evanston to Elgin, that's a hike.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know that, again, so that's not for this case, but shows as well, because like you said, isn't there video? Aren't we going to recognize the person? But
right.
It's a big world, and it's a big. And if
you
go from
that way, right?
and if you around here you walk into a gas station around here, sure people would that's Mike Greene, but from here you drive an hour away, you walk into a place.
You might work here. Just like, I work in Aurora and Naperville. And it's an hour away. And,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So.
It's a nice thing about some of the things with social media and the web is we're able to now get our pictures and information out much quicker, and we're able to really kind of make the world smaller. And so we're able to then share pictures, because a long time ago, in fact, one of our Throwback Thursday photos was just
the one of you in 92?
No, not that one. Not that one.
Looking hair then.
Thanks, yes.
I agree.
It was in style at that time.
It was good.
It's coming back, too. It's coming back.
Yeah.
But anyways, there was a kid just looking at all the pictures from of people who were arrested back, I don't know when it was, looked like it was probably in the 50s or 60s. And obviously the world was much bigger, so if you had a picture and you didn't know them and you went around and showed other people it, sometimes you catch people, sometimes you didn't. But now people travel great distances to stay away and not be seen or not be known.
Well, good on that.
It was a good arrest.
Monday morning, I believe, or Monday morning, we had social media. Facebook had alerted us through the Elgin Police Department that there was a standoff or a house that was being surrounded, and streets were shut down around the area of, Chicago and...
Over on East Chicago Street.
East Chicago Street. Right around the time that we were on air, and, trying to get more information, of course, contacted through the Facebook page that there was nothing more to report, and then all of a sudden it was over. First of all, it turns out, there's a report of guy's got a gun, there's a woman in the house with him, and as it turns out, neither was the case. But you had to respond full alarm, basically, right?
Yeah, we got a call that the person inside was making some threats, and so our patrol, as always, are the first ones to respond. And then as time goes on, and that was also one of the very cold mornings as well. And so we're going to have multiple officers outside the elements and needed to move them around and make sure that they could stay warm. One of the things we talked about actually just a few weeks ago, officers and staying warm. So this was one, it was very cold. I want to say it was 10 below zero last Monday, or so. It seems like that's been multiple days these past few weeks. But anyways,
it wasn't that.
Right. So it was below zero, and after an hour or so that trying to talk with the person to have them come out, and our communications department did a great job speaking with them, and our first responders, the patrol officers, were out there, and they weren't able to get them out, and our tactical response team then responded and were able to eventually speak to the man and get him to come out and turn himself in. And again, inside there was no, there was supposed to be another woman inside, supposed to be a gun inside, and don't believe we found either at the time. So
did you pull the bat up to the front door?
The bat was out there. The bat was up and out there. Yeah, and so again, a perfect example of how we use that.
Because is that when you showed up with the bat?
I was not there with the bat. No,
I wasn't. I would drive that thing. If I was chief, I'd be in that thing all the time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good thing I'm not chief.
You wouldn't be chief.
No. This is very true. It might last a day.
Right. It'd be a fun day, I'm sure.
It would be a great day.
Would be but so the officers then were able to get him out, and nobody was harmed. And it was the second time in about a week, because of the week before we had another one where a subject came out, pointed a gun at a neighbor, and then went back inside. Our tactical response team had to respond, as well as our patrol officers. So, those are the ones that are. We do have the discussion many times on the scene. The supervisors do. Okay, at what point are we going to stay out here and turn this into a full-blown, hour-long standoff? And at what point do we know who it is? And if he's not doing anything, are we just going to get a warrant for him and go away? So those discussions are had. When somebody makes threats,
do you need a warrant in that case? If he's made the threat, he's called in, or he's done, you still need a warrant before going in. You can't just knock the door down?
Well, different things. So if somebody's, there's a threat inside, and depending how it's going, the last, these two are a little bit different, this one and the one before. So we can stop the threat from occurring as far as making an arrest. We can take a person into custody if they're inside, depending on what the charges are. Certain felonies versus somebody wanted on, some minor traffic violation. We know they're inside. So the entry to make the arrest can need a search warrant, but then also once it's done and the person's in custody, then the search warrant is needed to then search the house if we're looking for the gun and things. So at what stage do we need what? Kind of, it's very fluid, but at the end of the day, once the person's taken into custody, if we're going to need to search the house for the weapons or for anything else that we thought was going on inside there, then we would need to get the search warrant. So our detectives are out there, our negotiators are out there, our SWAT team's out there, and we work through them. And like we said, when it's someone dealing with threats, we can't just, most times we can't just want to walk away from it. Person's obviously asking for help, and they say, okay, they're not going to come for this. Well, now I'm going to go and do A, B, and C, and maybe hurt somebody else, and to get the police to respond, because they're obviously calling us with these threats, so they want us to respond at some level. So those are the judgment calls, but we know it gets frustrating for people. They come and roads are closed, and if it affects how school is dropped off, and we did get some calls from the schools as far as what's going on.
Right.
And we always work very closely with U46 specifically, and the private schools are always one we have to make sure we remind ourselves to get out and make sure that those parents and school administrators are notified. But yeah, it both of those ended well with subjects in custody and nobody hurt.
That one too, Monday morning, you had to evacuate adjacent residences. Can you talk about how that goes? What's the talk track with knocking on someone's door at 7 o'clock in the morning or earlier? It could be any time of the day or night. How does that go? Is that always comfortable?
No.
I'm not leaving my house. Do they have to?
Yeah, depending on what's going on. No, we're not going to be dragging people out of their homes. Most people understand it. They understand that they're in harm's way and they need to get out of their house. There's been times where, also depending on what they have, and if we know somebody has a handgun, or if somebody had a rifle and they made threats, we're obviously going to have a little bit larger of a safety zone and talk to more residents. But we've had also people just tell them to in place, just lay low in place. So if they have a basement, don't go up in the third floor where you can actually see the house, two door, if it's four houses down the block or something. Stay in your basement, stay on the first floor where you can't be seen from there. But we have an obligation to let the residents and the neighbors know what's going on and what's the safest route. But many times they leave based on how we're able to talk with them. So it's not always it's not the case where we're putting people in handcuffs and drag them out of their own house. But many times it's you need to get in your car and drive away. This is not this is dangerous, and most people get that and they don't want to be any part of it. So they listen.
With just a couple minutes left, I did want to talk about a couple things you have going on. I know we referenced a couple last week with the community conversation that was going to take place. Also, the Coffee with a Cop, which you just had. Your annual awards ceremony is coming up, but you also have some basketball stuff coming up, as well as a brick project. Can you talk to some of those?
Yeah, we got the Elgin Police basketball team back together, and it's been a while.
I like how you reference yourselves as the Harlem Globetrotters.
You know, they do a traveling game, and it's really not that serious. That's kind of how I think our team will be. Of course, we got some young guys on the young men and women on the team who are we're still playing it pretty serious. So we're playing at church tomorrow, Saturday morning. We're playing actually at St. Ed's. Again, just kind of fun. I was at.
What's the purpose of it? What are you guys doing? Just community outreach kind of thing?
Yeah, community outreach, and this started with I was at a luncheon, and one of the pastors at a local church over on the west side was talking about basketball, and I said, you know, I used to play, and we play.
That was kind of big time back in the day. I don't know if you ever heard of me or not.
Right, and so we. And so then we contacted Rob Hartman's the resident officer, and so we said, you know, let's have a game for community relations as part of it. But then also the church it's good for them as well. It brings their congregation together. And so we're playing against them. We're playing against the Boys and Girls Club then, and I think 2 Fridays after that on a Friday night. We got a Friday night
boys
game.
And girls, are you? Just the administrators and stuff?
No, I think we're playing against the kids. Yeah. So
take it easy.
I know. Well, hey, they're tough. Last year we played the YWCA, and a bunch of the kids were out there, and we played right up here up the block, and they're very good. They're very fast when they're 15 years old and 16 years old.
Yeah.
So,
you're not playing 8 and 9-year-olds.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean we could post them up if we wanted, but generally speaking, it's a tough game. So so we're looking forward to it. So we got the Elgin Police basketball team back together again. So.
Also, I saw the brick project. Can you talk to that? I saw that on social media that some of the officers are arranging this. Have kind of started this up, and we need to know more about it.
Yeah, Deputy Chief Wolf really worked with Christy Schmidt from our Community Relations Department, and we have all those bricks in front of the station. And what we want to do is eventually get to a point where we can have some type of, not necessarily memorial is the right word, but a area within the police department or out front that recognizes people who gave 20, 25, 30 years of their life to the Elgin Police Department and to the community of Elgin. And so we are doing just kind of a fundraiser by retired officers, their families, people who are involved with Citizens Police Academy, are going to be able to buy a brick, and the brick goes in the front of the police station. In all those brick areas, we just swap out the bricks, and it's a fundraiser to eventually have a more permanent type of structure. But we're excited to have this brick project. So Bill Wolf and Christy Schmidt did a nice job reaching out to all the retired members. So if you know people who are retired members or family of retired members, and maybe the officer has since passed, but your great uncle was there and you want to have his name with the dates he served in a brick in front of the police department, contact Christy Schmidt at the police department, and we'll help you work through that.
Great. And then Coffee with a Cop.
Coffee with a Cop last Thursday was great. And was it Thursday? Wednesday. We had a Coffee with a Cop, and it was at Big Apple Bagels, and again it was Commander Lally's idea to get this going. It was a great turnout. I think we probably had about 20 people over there just sitting around for an hour talking about a variety of things. Actually, one of the main topics was burglaries going around on the west side, and hot off the press we made that
press release this morning.
Press release, yeah. We have a guy arrested, and we just put it up on Facebook and everything. People want to refer to that, but our technical investigations unit, specifically using that leads online and our technology and video cameras and all those things, we're eventually able to get this person arrested, and I think charged up on 4 or 5 different burglaries.
4 or 5 different ones.
Yeah.
Kind of the same MO on all of them, window and...
Exactly. Yeah. And again, so we talk about people who wake up every day looking at how they're going to go around and steal from us, so residents need to be aware. And that was one of the great things about this Coffee with a Cop was there were multiple questions on that, very specific, and we knew we were close to making the arrest, but we couldn't obviously say much, and so we're saying, just we're close, work with us, and some of the residents were frustrated, saying, what's going on with this? How do we catch this person? And so I was very happy to see that the very next day we were able to make an arrest on this case that has caused many of the residents a lot of concern. So
great. Well, Jeff, thanks for joining us. Jeff Swoboda from the Elgin Police Department.
And I appreciate that. And real quick, just thanks to Elgin Community College as well. Last week they invited me out to do the ceremonial jump ball for their basketball game, Moraine Valley versus Elgin Community College. And Elgin Community College men's basketball team is very good this year. And so
didn't they ask you if you had any eligibility left? Or
yeah,
they wanted you to play.
Right. Yeah, these kids are fast, man. Couldn't play with them.
You couldn't
for sure. No.
All right. Well, thanks very much.
Back in the day, we were talking
about the civics.
And yes, and Steve, thank you, Steve Thorin. Elgin Civics, they invited me to come out, United Civics Club invited me to come out, and they did a nice proclamation, basically saying that they support the Elgin Police Department through all the things going on. That they wanted to make a statement that the police department is very important in this community, and that they support them. And they gave me a nice proclamation to basically give back to the officers who are day to day out there doing the people's work for them. We were able to get a nice, very nice attaboy from the communities, and the Elgin Civics Club did a nice job. So I want to really thank them. And Steve Thorne actually spearheaded that. So I was able to have that meeting last Saturday, I think it was, and it was a packed house. It was a packed house over at the Moose Lodge. So very nice event, and I really appreciate it. We get many people saying thank you for all the work that the police department's doing. I make sure I pass that on to the officers because they're the ones actually doing it. So we do thank people for thanking us. So it's great to be recognized.
It's a whole appreciation. Thank you, Jeff.
I appreciate it, guys. You guys have, speaking of appreciation,
yes,
appreciate you guys have a warm and safe weekend. March is just around the corner, I hear.
I hope.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're listening to AM 1410, WRMN.
In Elgin.